Welcome to the CoinSec podcast. On this week's episode, we talked about a Japanese cryptocurrency exchange called Zaif getting hacked. The port of San Diego got hit with some ransomware. SIM swappers in Oklahoma got arrested. And Monero is trying to take an initiative to battle malware. All that and more on this week's episode of the CoinSec podcast.
Want to secure your assets.
We can crack the wallet.
Oh, we've done it before.
We've got rigs, character adversary, attribution mode.
With our private keys combined.
Building some kind of blockchain super weapon.
There's just a number of vulnerabilities that are in the smart contracts.
Math. It's probably secure.
They all secretly mine cryptocurrency.
What coin can I trust? Which one is cryptographically secure?
Don't roll your own crypto.
CoinSec podcast. The CoinSec podcast is a podcast about cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies with a focus on securing them. Don't let the hum of our dual-purpose crypto miner/password crackers in the background disrupt your listening pleasure. Today, I'm your host, Bo Bullock, and I have with me Mike Felch. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, how are you?
Not too bad. It's been a while.
Yeah, I've been gone, been missing, been trying to get things in order here. So
cool. Well, I mean, in general, I think we've been missing, like, as a collective for the last couple weeks too. Just been busy, you know. It's been crazy.
been getting poked and people asking, and
I know people are rioting in the streets for these episodes. Like, it's like a mad frenzy out there, man. Got to get these episodes out. Also today we have Steve Borosh. What's up, Steve? How have we not actually implemented that soundboard yet?
I know, right?
It seems like such
been
a
too long, so glad to get back on.
That's like my whole goal next week. I'm just like, I'm putting a board together. It's going to be great. 3 buttons.
And that is the voice of the one and only Ralph May. What's up, Ralph?
What is up? I'm glad to be here for our episode that we haven't had in a while. So it's exciting.
Episode 31.
Yeah.
Getting up there. Yeah, we have all 4 of us. That's pretty cool, you know? Missed you guys a little bit.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little.
I think your beard gets a little more unruly every time.
Yeah, I think you're going for a pretty big one now.
For those of the audience listening, we actually record this in like a go-to meeting, and so we can see each other. And so he can smire in the beard a little bit.
Yeah. Are you getting ready for December, or is this just
Winter is
that
coming.
time of the month for you? Yeah, winter is coming.
Actually, I started doing Viking training.
Oh, Viking training. What does that entail?
It basically entails a 15-pound shield and 3 hours in the sun and lots of steel
And
meeting
growing
steel.
a beard?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that too.
Is that okay. All right, fair. Maybe we should have like a beard off. I can grow a pretty big one if I want.
Yeah, no, dude, I was super skeptical first. Like, a buddy of mine told me about it, and he's like, "Yeah, you should come to this Viking training." I'm thinking LARPing in my head, like I was totally thinking like just some nerdy dudes out there with like some fake swords, like lightning bolt, that kind of thing. And so I go, and no, like it's literally like hitting each other with swords. It's I mean, they're blunted, obviously, like so you don't cut a fucking leg off, but
Oh, not a little Monty Python.
yeah, but it's fun. All right, so cryptocurrency still a thing, right?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
so.
no. Yeah, I think I sold all mine for this episode, so I got nothing else to talk about now.
For the episode, nice.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, do we get any of that? Is that like?
Yes. Actually, dividends for all the.
Are you giving away ETH? Is that like go on your Twitter handle now?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing.
He's hit pretty low. I don't know. It keeps dropping the way. Keeps dropping the way that it is. If you give him ETH, he's going to end up owing you.
Yeah, so speaking of price, Ethereum is at $232, which is definitely pretty low. I mean,
It's back up, though. I mean, it's getting back up.
It is, yeah. But no, so
a couple days ago it was like 210. So
yeah,
before that was like 170.
One of the big things that's happened that I think is kind of I don't know, it's a big moment in the cryptocurrency world is that Ripple actually passed Ethereum for a little bit there. In terms of overall market cap, which is kind of like I was kind of blown away by that. Honestly, I didn't see what sparked that interest, but there was a huge spike at one point. Ripple made a huge jump. You guys happen to know like what could have like sparked that interest in Ripple like all of a sudden? I have no
Good
idea.
question. I did see it go up like when everything was down like 2 or 3 times, like pretty significantly. Like it remained double digits up, which I thought was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it surged 20% in a day, and it did so even though Bitcoin didn't. Usually they kind of ebb and flow with the rise and fall of Bitcoin, but it had done so on its own. And from what I have read, that there's this new product called X Rapid that they're developing for.
So that's
for
the
Ripple.
So I'm reading an article right now that says basically like Ripple Labs, which is the underlying company, that revealed that they're launching a new product that could help banks speed up transactions using XRP, and that's I think what initially caused that huge spike.
Yeah.
So yeah, news. So X Rapid, right? So all right. So is this?
Yep.
All right, so I guess from what I've heard or what I understand about Ripple is that it's meant to kind of replace like the Swift system, right? Like bank to bank transactions.
I believe so. Yeah.
No, I think you're right. That's what I've read as well.
Yeah. So this, I guess this is actually like the thing that's supposed to do that, because it says XRapid is supposed to help banks speed up transactions. And like I remember hearing I think it was the CEO of Ripple one time was describing Ripple, or I guess he describes it as XRP, right? Because like Ripple's the company, XRP is the token, and he was describing XRP as the thing that would replace the Swift system, because I guess right now, like if you try to transfer any currency from a bank to another bank, it takes a really long time because the Swift system is really slow. The example the guy gave, the CEO gave at the time, was that he could literally like get in his car, drive to the airport with like $10,000 in his hands, get on a plane, fly to Africa, hand somebody the money in person faster than it would take like the Swift system to get it there.
Is that the Nigerian prince?
Probably, yeah. Paying him off. Yep.
I knew he was real. I knew it. Knowing those emails.
So I mean, in all honesty, like if that is the real thing, like if that's what or if this is the actual innovation that's starting to actually come to fruition for Ripple's purpose, then I mean I see why the craze would be behind it, because I mean that is going to enable banks to move money a lot faster.
Yeah.
True.
Absolutely.
In a centralized manner, though, right?
Sure. Yeah. So this is not. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing I don't like about Ripple as a currency in terms of like me owning it. Like I see it as a useful functionality for some entity to use, like a bank, right? But I don't think it's definitely not like the token that you would want to use if you want to be like anonymous and decentralized and that kind of thing. Because Ripple, the company, is a centralized organization that still can manipulate those values, because they have like billions in like escrow tokens like that they can release or whatever if they need to, and they pay their own employees in Ripple as well, or in XRP.
Yeah, I don't really understand what's its purpose then. I mean, I get it solving the Swift problem, but I mean, it's just technology at that point. I mean, if you're talking about wiring money faster, I'm sure that banks can do that in any number of ways. I guess I'm failing to see the benefits of using the blockchain to do what it's doing. I guess maybe just because I don't understand it.
Yeah, I'm also not. I'm not an expert on it by any means.
Site, they have for the low cost liquidity section on there. It says that payments into emerging markets often require pre-funded local currency accounts around the world, and liquidity costs are high. So XRapid will lower the capital requirements to make that stuff happen. And I'm not exactly sure how it does it, but it allows you to transfer, I think, between currencies faster. Maybe it holds it in some other way for you. I'm not sure. I'm not a banker, so.
I think they're coming out with something else called like coal or something, or coil. It's like it's also like a service for sending money for like content creators, and I guess two people involved right now in the trial are Twitch, Wikipedia, and YouTube. That was another thing to try to prop up the price. But I guess I think the swing was like 100%. They said like it went up 100% over that swing, and now it's back down. So
real story then. So okay, and this is just playing devil's advocate here against like the whole. So if Ripple isn't decentralized, then that means it's centralized, which means it's probably just in a database anyway, right? And it's probably just some virtual currency that like is really just a token that they just created out of nowhere that's stored in a database that they have on their servers. So it's probably not technically even using any of the blockchain technology, but they're piggybacking off that to kind of to spike their, I don't know, just conspiracy. But
well, yeah,
you know
I mean,
what I'm saying?
obviously it's just a SQL-like database, but that's not the point. Mongo, yes, all right, it's Mongo. All right.
No, so like so Ripple owns 61 billion of the 100 billion XRP that were created, and the rest of the currency is traded freely in the open market. So it's claimed that Ripple holds nearly 50 billion in an escrow account, systematically releasing tokens to clients. So they have the ability to release as much as they want, which to me, like that makes it like such a thing that I would avoid anyway, because that gives them such manipulation power on the market, you know?
I don't think they should be even on there. It doesn't even seem, I don't know, it just rubs me wrong, I guess. And not because it's taken over ETH every once in a while, or last couple weeks. It just kind of rubs me as not really being like even a cryptocurrency.
I mean, so like the whole purpose of it, like XRP was actually intended as a bridge currency for financial institutions to allow them to make simple, fast cross-border payments without the need for multiple middlemen or the huge fees usually associated with these types of transactions. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely more of like a utility thing. Like that's the whole point of it. It's supposed to be like speeding up stuff.
A utility token.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess I mean, from like an investing perspective, you know, I don't really understand why the price of it would go up that much. You know, I mean, if in reality, like the utility of it gets, let's say it got implemented by all the banks around the world and they started using it to transact, right? I mean, how does that affect price really? You know, like, because it's not like they're going to try to sell it higher than it's worth, right? Like a bank isn't necessarily trying to like make a profit off of using it for a transaction, right? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like in a normal market, like with Bitcoin and stuff, like if I'm trying to, sell Bitcoin, I want to sell it for the highest value I can, right? But if a bank is using it as strictly a utility, they're not really thinking about the price, I would imagine, like it's more like I'm just transacting it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about this stuff.
It's all good. We can move on. I just thought it was interesting because it passed Ethereum for a little bit. So, yeah, definitely one of the top cryptocurrencies there. Okie dokie. What? Top what?
I was going to say top 3, right next to Bitcoin Cash. So, I mean, I don't know what that means. I don't. So, yeah. Anyways.
All right. So I guess just to cap off the market currently, the overall market cap's at 223 billion. All right, the weekly coin security news. First story of the week is the Port of San Diego got hit with ransomware, and they got demanded some Bitcoin be paid.
Did they actually pay it? I know they didn't disclose like how much was requested. But did you see anything on it about them actually paying it?
I don't know. I've read a couple articles on this now. I don't know if they would disclose that or not.
It wouldn't even say how much. That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean it wouldn't say? Like how much they were?
How much the ransom was? Yeah.
It's probably your typical, $300 a computer kind of thing. It's, never really that much, unless it was like a direct. Was it like a direct threat for a ransom?
So I'm reading the press release from the Port of San Diego, and they don't say. I think like if you were an attacker and you knew the target that you hit, you would ask for more. And that would be the only way we would be able to tell if this was targeted or not, is based on how much they're asking.
I feel like
if you knew that you had hit something that the value was higher, you would ask more, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I feel like there was
But
another port recently too.
Yeah, you mentioned that, but I
Yeah.
don't remember seeing anything.
Yeah,
You
all
mean
right. So
are all
yeah,
these-
check this out. So there was the port of Barcelona earlier this month that was hit. Hold on, let me pull that up real quick. As another cyber attack, the port of Barcelona. So they were trying to correlate whether or not like there were some sort of connected attacks between these two ports. I remember seeing, I think somebody tweeted about it or something, but yeah, I'm trying to find like an article now. I'm trying to figure out if it was ransomware. I don't think they're saying in this article I have, but yeah, there's another port that was hit recently. Port of
Are all
Barcelona.
these ports running like Windows XP or what? Is that like a?
Yeah, with
it'd
That'd be interesting.
It'd be funny though. I mean, they might have some like systems that are like for these ships that require, older versions of Windows or something. Maybe that's part of it. I'm not sure. Or, it could just be, traditional security lack thereof, right? And then, they take them all down. I think it is interesting though that, if they get enough of these systems, it's sometimes probably cheaper to pay than it is to remediate.
Sure.
Especially if they don't have backups, right? Like,
That would call for honest thieves.
What's up?
That would call for
Yeah.
honest thieves. Right?
Yeah. They're
They're going to give you the.
from experience that I've seen companies actually pay.
Yeah, I had
It does happen.
I had my wife's friend. Her husband owned his own IT business in Lakeland, and this was like right before I moved. Actually, the week before I moved here, and he got one of his customers got hit with ransomware, and he didn't know what to do, and the time was running down, so they called me, and I helped him over the phone, so I didn't really like go triage anything, just to kind of help him weigh out his options. And he ended up paying it and decrypted the customer's files for him. But from a small business perspective, that could put you out. I can't imagine what it would do to a port, especially if it's a big port.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. I've actually had the same thing happen with me. I had somebody, a friend of a friend, not actually call me up to go through the triage, but ask if I could help. And I ended up not hearing. I'm not sure what they did. But anyways, same thing, right? Like there's as soon as I hear it, I'm like, well, I mean, obviously like 14 things went wrong before we got here, right? Like, how do you fix it? But like, you're trying to think of like how to help them now. But like, we're talking, you messed up a long time ago. So, how do you get your files back? And in that case, though, it might be easier to pay, right? I mean, but it
You
also
could almost start a business based on that. Companies call you and you teach them how to set up a cryptocurrency account and how to put funds in it and then pay. I mean, I think it's a big enough business.
Then you
Enough people
do
can get by it.
ransomware. Yeah, then you do ransomware, and then you double dip.
It's like the old days of hacking. You start a hacking business and then you hack somebody and say, "Oh, I found this."
I know I can't imagine what big companies pay for the remediation on this kind of stuff, right? Whether it's asking somebody or actually going through down the whole process, right? I mean, it's got to be expensive.
Well, after you pay, then what do you do? What's your procedures after that? Do you know?
Well, yeah. So I mean, like keeping paying is just like the beginning, like paying.
It's just the start, yeah.
Yeah, that's like, okay, well, we're back to where we started, but now we know we're in really bad situation, and to get that out, like prevent us from continuously paying some idiot in some other country, So, but
Especially if they have persistence on the machine somehow.
oh,
That would really suck. Just push the button again. Encrypt it again.
I know So that's what makes it so hard when someone calls you on the phone, like, hey, all my stuff's encrypted. You know, I have a small company. Like, what do I do? It's kind of like, I got way more questions than I got answers for you right now.
How to get in?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think I opened a link. No, it probably didn't happen that way.
Yeah. But it then reiterates the fact that it's a positive model to make money when you pay them. So then guess what we have? More, more of these attacks, and then, ransomware here and there. But I think what I wonder though is if the FBI is actually catching these people. They're probably in different countries though, So
Yeah, that, and then they're not going to investigate it unless it's over a certain dollar amount. They just don't have the bandwidth to be dealing with little, $300 machine compromises unless it's on the scale and they're able to track it down to like a specific group where it becomes much bigger.
yeah, what if they compromise critical infrastructure stuff though, right? Like straight up,
Yeah, well, I mean, in that circumstance,
Homeland Security.
Mhm.
But like mom and pop's company, IT company getting popped with ransomware, they're not going to waste their time with that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll field the phone call. But
Hopefully.
yeah, right. So
Yeah, I always
That's the
wonder,
first time
like,
we've actually talked about ransomware in a while.
yeah. No, I was gonna say, I always like. I mean, I honestly haven't had that much experience like working with FBI directly. I know Mike. I think you have a little bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
So like,
A little bit here.
how does like the whole attribution process go down? Like whenever, like, let's say like, I know you said like the mom and pop shops, they probably don't like work with them that much. Like they don't have the time.
Well, they have the attribution dice. You just roll
Right,
that. And it's
You roll it and then
North
you say China.
Yeah.
Maybe North Korea now.
I guess what I'm asking is like if you see an attack like that and you report it to an agency, do they like?
Yeah, I mean,
do they like need? Do they just ask you for your logs? Like, where were the IPs they were coming from? What evidence?
So in my experience, like just from like the incident response side, the triage and then having the involvement with like when they show up and we have meetings, I've met a lot of great bureau agents. Some of them are extremely smart, kind of contrary to the stigma of, well, the FBI doesn't know anything technical. It's totally not true. And when they come, they tend to know what they're looking for, and they're appreciative of anything that you can share. Mm-hmm. But it's usually a one-way street, right? So you'd like to get a little more feedback because you're trying to figure out like certain things kind of on your internal network. Is it targeted for the company? Is it just kind of we just fell victim because
like
of something
some
else? They don't
drive-by kind of thing.
But totally don't share. It's usually a one-way street, 100%. And it really just up to whatever the damage is, right? So I remember in one case we had been spearphished like regularly, and they were pretty successful at compromising the accounts payable department. And the company that I was working for was brokering yachts. So you can imagine really large wire transfers. And what they were doing was they were piggybacking accounts payable, and then whenever they would notice an account that was being sent in an email, they would piggyback that email and say, "Oh, don't send it to that address, send it to this bank account instead." And we actually didn't even know that it was occurring. I was actually on the pen testing team. I got pulled in to develop a CSIRT team for the organization just because I was the only one with any sort of experience with security. We literally had no security department at the time. They do now, so don't go after them. But we learned about it because the bureau came in and said, "Hey, we just intercepted like a massive wire transfer."
Oh wow!
To like and we intercepted it, and we need to figure out like kind of get to the bottom of it. But it's definitely a one-way street. And then attribution, they'll connect the dots. They do share. I mean, the intelligence community does a pretty good job of sharing, right? Mm-hmm. So, and then between the private and public sector, there's different organizations that are created to kind of share intelligence, and then they start piecing components together, and then they start seeing common patterns, and they start digging in. So if the mom and pop's company ends up getting kind of wrapped up into one of those kind of circumstances where, it might have been small, but it was actually a signature of a group that we've been following, then they'll be more involved and try to get what they can out of it. And so what they do with that, I have no idea.
I think it's fascinating. Like I don't know, like the whole idea of trying to figure out where an attack came from. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, you eventually have to like cross, world or like country borders somehow. In most
Yeah.
cases, I imagine. Which I can't even imagine what kind of nightmare that is to try to track somebody down, like from another country.
Have you guys? All right, I was gonna say, have you guys heard of this new attack recently? So you guys know what Concur is, right?
Oh,
So, yeah,
The
it's like an
travel
expense
thing.
system. Yeah, like a travel thing, right? So, and I actually heard this. I overheard someone talking about this, and I connected all the dots after just a couple like sentences they didn't put together. Anyways, what they're doing is they're compromising corporate employees' accounts, right? So your basic whatever Joe, it doesn't matter. Get their email or whatever, and they're not looking to necessarily laterally spread. What they want to do is they get into Concur, they change the bank account to account that they own, and then when they file an expense report, they get paid as opposed to the person who would normally got paid on those expense reports, right? And the thing is, they got their email, so it sends an email letting them know that it's changed or whatever, but doesn't matter. So it's like, and then they can just hold it in there. And then when you're just doing your expense report, you're like, oh, well, my bank account's already in there. We're good to go. And next thing you know, the attacker's getting paid, right? So a new way to capitalize on corporate expense. It's pretty interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, I've seen something. I've been to so when I was in Florida, I was doing this thing with the Secret Service task force. It was the Electronic Crimes Task Force out of Pinellas. Great group of people. It's kind of like a Secret Service bureau, kind of multi-agency, and then also the corporations, the larger corporations that are in the Central Florida area. And every month we would have like these meetups, and we would just kind of share. And we have like presentations or tabletops and kind of these exercises. And it was really cool. It was such a interesting experience because they kind of talked about some of the emerging things, a lot of stuff that like CERT puts out. But there was one of the last ones that I went to before I moved out here was about that similar thing where they were compromising payroll situations and then changing accounts and getting wire transfers. So they were targeting like on scale, and even if they're only getting a little fraction of the payroll, because you could add like another account, you could split up your paycheck into like,
just have 10% go there. Yeah,
you don't even see it. Yeah, you don't even notice it. And they were able to do that at scale, and so
insane. I had a company ask me, they were like, "Oh, Concur is really like important," or I believe it was the other like Workday or something. All of our information's in there. They're really concerned about it. I'm like, I don't really understand. Like, I get it. There's personal information in there, but now I'm actually starting to correlate some of the different ideas or attacks you could actually do to turn that access into real money in your bank account. And something like a small draw would also be able to work for a long time. If I'm short $20 this month, like I'm just like, oh well, something probably changed. Like I'm not going to follow that up, right? So, but if you do that for 300 people or however many, you can make a piece of money and no one's catching on. So I don't know, just a different way to monetize like that weird access. So.
And now take it to the cryptocurrency side of things. When everyone starts getting paid their salaries in cryptocurrency, how are you gonna notice like 0.2 Bitcoin not on your paycheck anymore?
Right.
Well, I feel like pools are doing that already. Like
yeah,
they're only taking 1%, but they're like taking 3%, and you have
or
no
the mining
idea.
software is automatically just like
Yeah.
Like it's really 1%.
Yeah, you're not going to notice that 1% of something, but it's like at scale, they're getting a lot of money. So, it would be really hard. Plus, the other thing, how do you get the money back, right? Like, you can go to institutions and be like, oh, well, this transaction wasn't supposed to happen, or all these weren't supposed to happen, and maybe you get some of it back. But, with, cryptocurrencies, you're screwed. You're not getting any of it back, right?
Is there a term for that? Like micro theft or something? Like micro.
There's got to be a term.
I call it office space. That's it.
I'm bad with decimal points.
Decimal point.
Yes.
But I mean, what I think is funny is the root reason they were doing it so that somebody wouldn't notice, right? But and that's the same reason these attackers would do it too, because I just hopefully won't notice, right? I won't say anything, and they can keep going. So interesting.
Yeah, that'd be the thing to do if you hacked an exchange, right? Just take tiny little bits of each transaction.
A little bit,
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to that. We've got to talk about one.
We do. So yeah, a Japanese exchange was the latest victim of a rather large hack. So this one, I mean, it's not crazy, like it's not, like Mt. Gox level hack, but $60 million of digital coins from
Nothing.
the Japanese exchange known as, I believe you pronounce it Zaif, Z-A-I-F, Zaif. And so the theft involved Bitcoin, Monacoin, and Bitcoin Cash. And I had to have Steve kind of inform me what Monacoin was before the show because I'd never heard of it.
Yeah,
So,
I'd mined some in the past. So this, like we were talking about stealing a little bit at a time, that was not the case here, for sure. It was a large amount. Yeah, smash and grab. And from what I can read, there's really no details on that other than they said an employee's PC was hacked. So
right.
probably one person fished, and that was the game over for the rest of it. But
Or mail sniper was
Huh?
sniper was used.
Yeah. Oh
They
my
had
god.
you can
Won't be the first.
There's you guys heard about blocktrace.com?
No.
So I'll post in the chat here, and we can put that on the article later. But there's a basically a company called Blocktrace, and they track transactions on the blockchain. So they are able to track down where this went and notice that once it was sent to a certain address, and that a lot of it actually ended up on Binance right now. So
Oh, nice.
you got to think if somebody's registered on Binance, then maybe you can track down who has actually.
What an idiot, though. Like,
Yeah,
that's
right?
so dumb. I mean, actually,
Could
maybe
be,
it's not
or it could be
dumb.
like
Maybe it's not done. Maybe whoever hacked that exchange, maybe what they did is they did the local Bitcoin style thing and just sold it for cash. And then some poor fool
Somebody
who bought
else.
$50 million worth of stolen coins put it on Binance. Oh man, that's the thing.
Maybe
About
there's nothing
cryptocurrency.
That
You
was
don't know.
interesting to me because to me, you would send it to either a decentralized exchange or something like that and trade it for another privacy coin and then swap it a few times. So, but just basically send it over to Binance.
That's YOLO right there.
Yeah, YOLO cash out, right? See what happens. Come get me.
I mean, you think that though, but let's think about this from the ATM skimmers, right? So the ATM, the person that creates these skimmers, he has somebody that puts the skimmer on the ATM, and they make it in a way where the person that's planting it can't actually get the credit card data because it's either encrypted or sent back to the server, and then they pay out a portion of it. If you followed that same train of thought, and they were going to use money mules or something, and then be just pay somebody and take it and then pay somebody to do some transfer and give it to them a fraction on the dollar,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just go get an account, and I'll transfer it to you. And
Does it say how much ended up on Binance? Was it just a little bit that was on Binance, or did they transfer $50 million to Binance?
It doesn't say the actual dollar amount. It was some of it went to Binance and some of it went to another exchange called Huobi, Huobi, which I'm not familiar with that one. So,
have you seen that? I don't know what the site's called where you can buy gift cards with cryptocurrency. What if you just went on there $50 million and full of different gift cards, and then went all there and got things and returned them all, money muled that way? I mean, that'd be an interesting way to turn it all to cash, actually.
what's it called?
Paxful. Paxful.
Yeah, I can buy them with you buy these gift cards, and then you could turn them over. I don't know. There's kind of probably all different types of ways to make that money cleaner, right, and less traceable, right? But yeah, I mean, you're right though. Money mules. I mean, you don't. They're just getting a piece of it. They don't really know the whole puzzle, right? And so that's who they would be arresting or thinking they're finding, but they're just finding people who don't know anything really, just trying to make $1. So. Interesting.
Yeah, so on Paxful, you can go on there and you can sell Bitcoin, and then you can accept all kinds of different methods, but gift cards is one of them.
That's cool.
I'm just going to start a coin called Laundromat. And you can trade.
I'm not following. Where are you going?
yeah, I think if you
cleaner
start
money.
a money laundering service, somebody might look at you.
I'm not starting laundry coin. Yeah, Lou, you can get my gift cards, Amazon gift cards, instant. Oh wow. Okay. All right. Cool. I mean, sounds like laundry coin, but I'm just saying this is what I feel. But cool.
Sorry, I'm trying to look up where these coins went real quick. Because like they posted one of the addresses for the Bitcoin addresses, so I'm just trying to find it on blockchain.info. Trying to see how much they sent to Binance. I'm curious about this. So go ahead.
I was gonna say, can you use like an Amazon gift card to buy Bitcoins with Paxful?
An Amazon gift card?
Yeah, or like a gift card. Like,
Yeah, you can use prepaid gift cards. Yeah. We wrote about it in a non-attribution blog post a while back on on the Black Hills blog. Yeah, you can buy Bitcoin with a prepaid gift card on Paxful. You're welcome, internet.
So I was right.
All right, so I see like one Bitcoin, half a Bitcoin, one Bitcoin. So like they sent like, oh wait, here's one that's 6,000 Bitcoins. Where did they send 6,000 Bitcoins? What address is this?
It's mine.
What does it say?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all points back to
Finally putting that Bitcoin logo in the pool, huh, Ralph?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my OPSEC is horrible, as you can tell.
So I'm buying $6,000 of Bitcoin for Starbucks gift cards. I'm just looking to see what kind of stuff you could do. It's kind of funny, actually. They got every kind of gift card on here you could think of.
I'm like, can you use like reward drinks? Can you get like Starbucks reward drinks for like Bitcoin? The ultimate.
So funny, actually. That would be awesome.
That's like the ultimate hack. Like if you like hack Starbucks system and got a bunch.
I totally know how to do this. Look, I got this theory that I know is going to work. Okay, I have to bring it up. Here's what it is. And if Starbucks gets hacked, it's not my fault. It's their fault because it's their vulnerability. I don't know if this to be true, but when you register virtually, like on their mobile app, you set your birthday and they send you birthday rewards every day, right? And it goes to your little card because they give you a Starbucks card, right? So whenever you have the mobile app, you get the Starbucks card. You put your birthday on your birthday. It adds the reward to your card, and there's your whatever. But if you just copied that card to like a VM. And then just created a bunch of accounts with like every day of the year and just had a bunch of birthdays, I think that you could basically just fill up a card with a bunch of rewards for like the whole entire year.
Would it be the same? It would be different cards though.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I think it's still. Does it have to be like a actual gift card, or because what's the difference between a Starbucks gift card and a Starbucks rewards card? That's the question.
It's the same thing. It's just tied to an account. Like there's like an account number to that, right? So
they both have account numbers. Actually, on my phone it does.
Could you imagine going into the same Starbucks every day and then being like, another birthday reward? You have to like drive around town. You like can't go to the Starbucks, just getting reward drinks. No, the ultimate is if you could turn these into Bitcoin, then that would really like be a monetization model.
That's the goal. Yeah, that's the goal. And we can automate it using like virtual machines.
You can't even trade a rewards. Like I can't. If I have like a bunch of rewards, I can't give one to somebody, right? Like, I can give them a reward. But if you could, that'd be awesome. But I know they expire too. Like they're onto it. They're like, if you don't use our rewards, you're gonna take it.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyways,
that'd be cool. Though. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, dude, you
All
can.
right, so
it does work. I'll just use Docker. It'll be easy to spin up like 365 of them.
All right, so on the topic of getting arrested. An Oklahoma duo was arrested for $14 million in cryptocurrency theft. And so was this a SIM swapping issue?
Yeah, so we talked about one the other week.
Mm-hmm.
This is another one. Apparently they targeted, what was it?
It's a company in California.
CMCT tokens from, was it Crowd Machine?
Crowd Machine. San Jose-based decentralized IT company.
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. So to perform this attack, they went to Walmart like geniuses, were on camera buying a phone, and probably paid cash because they thought they were going to get away with it. But then they went to a hotel, and what I don't understand is, did they have to like go steal somebody's phone and then swap the SIM into their phone?
No, they call customer service, man. So like you call customer service, be like, hey, I need, I got this phone, blah, 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 and, insert story of why you would need to do the swap. They're going to ask them,
and then they switch it over to your phone. Okay.
Yeah. And they'll ask knowledge-based questions like this, that, and they'll know some of that, and then they'll switch it over, right?
So they did some OSINT probably first and picked a target, right?
Yep.
These guys don't look that advanced.
I mean, and the worst part about it is like, all these like telcos, like cell phone carriers, they have like certain questions you're supposed to ask now. But like, if the first person asks you a bunch, like call back again and wait till the next person. Like wait for somebody that you can convince to like either get you through the process. I mean, there's got to be like hundreds and hundreds of different people in there working. So, I don't know.
So yeah, like you said, Bo, these two guys, they walked into a place that has security cameras everywhere to buy this phone, parked their car, which was on camera, and then drove the car to a hotel, which is where they found them because the car was there. So,
So they got busted that quick?
Oh, yeah.
Is this like, they had drone surveillance on them? I mean, like, there's like a Reaper drone up there just like watching these two dudes? What the hell, man? Like, how
either that or
guys?
They stayed around for too long.
Did you see their mugshots?
No.
Yeah, I did.
Gotta be good.
Hold on.
The one on the left's like, man, I knew I shouldn't have listened to that dude.
Oh, yeah.
Here, I'm posting it. It's in the chat.
This is definitely should go in the show notes. So
Ralph, you gotta see this. Like they don't look like they did their recon.
No, but they did look like they watched our Google talk about going to Walmart and buying a prepaid phone.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you guys talked about that. You told them to do this.
You could park somewhere else and walk there, maybe, or
not really for that.
No, you get a mule to do it.
Phone mule.
Yeah.
Thank you. A phone mule. They go in, they buy them. They buy like 5 of them. So like you don't know which one is the actual one you're going to use.
Yeah.
And
You
then,
go to Craigslist. Why go to Walmart?
I mean, go to Target. No one's
Go to
gonna
Craigslist to
suspect
get
that.
what? A prepaid phone off of Craigslist?
Just to get a phone. Yeah, you could get a
Oh.
prepaid Metro PCS phone and then you could just add minutes straight from the phone.
Yeah, but you don't know what
Like
kind of weird
Craigslist.
shit was already done on that phone.
Yeah, just get a phone.
True, but I mean,
Hey, I need
You're
to
increasing
buy
your
phone.
attack service there.
I would say you're decreasing it with
Wow.
the number of cameras that are on Walmart.
Well, sure. You don't have to go to Walmart.
so they
Walgreens.
Exactly. Go to a
they
less
purchased the
established
phone on
place.
September 18th. They rented a room on the day before on September 17th with the checkout date of the 25th, and they were arrested within that short couple-day window.
That is crazy.
That is crazy fast.
Dude.
That was Secret Service too.
Totally
Oh.
noobs. I don't know. That's crazy.
I remember my first SIM swap.
Oh my God!
I hear the story.
No, I know this is pretty crazy though how fast they caught him though. Like they were either there was either a flag or they were already under surveillance.
They're probably already under surveillance.
I think they were already under surveillance.
Well, the state's Regional Enforcement Allied Computer Team, or REACT, because we have to have an acronym for everything,
That's true.
contacted the Secret Service on September 24th. If their checkout date was the next day, that's still quick
That happened
reaction.
all
How do you
one
get a
day.
warrant that fast? Yeah.
You just go to the judge's door and knock on it.
Yeah, no, I mean they make a phone call. They make a phone call.
Yeah, they do it right there. Yeah, that'll get you.
So wait, so what is this React group now? So it's like Oklahoma's computer enforcement team or something?
Yeah, Regional Enforcement Allied Computer Team.
So
Computer team, yeah.
So did the company that got hacked contact them?
They must have.
I bet no. They probably contacted law enforcement. Like, just they called the cops, and then the cops probably knew that like these guys would probably be able to help or something.
Okay,
So, like,
let's
they
talk
want
about
the
this
ladder?
real quick. So they have a phone and they activate a SIM by calling the phone company and
Mhm.
getting it switched over to their SIM, right? So
Right.
immediately now you know the SIM that's attached to the phone. The local law enforcement is going to be able to ping it from a tower and be able to find it
Yeah.
in seconds. So they know
Mhm.
where it's at. The question though is, how did the local law enforcement receive the contact that quick? And then what they're going to do is, so they did a SIM swap.
They had the EMI. They had the IEMI or whatever for the phone, so they knew what it was. I mean, every freaking police station's got a Stingray at this point. I mean, it's not.
Crowd Machine reported the hack to the California Computer Crimes Task Force on September 22nd.
Crowd who?
Crowd Machine, that's who was
That's the company.
the company that was stolen from.
So how did they?
So the
know?
Computer Crimes Task Force in California must have reached out to that other regional place in Oklahoma.
So Crowd Machines in Oklahoma then?
No,
No, Crowd Machines in California.
they're in California.
So okay, so here's what then.
Yeah,
then
how
what
would they
happened-
know where the phone is at without having?
That's my question. But they probably used the phone and grabbed the IP or something stupid and said, "Oh, they're in Oklahoma. Let's see who we can call in Oklahoma."
Something.
I mean,
like that,
or maybe just call the phone number and see if anyone picks up, and then you get a full ping right there. I mean, like,
yeah, looking at those two idiots, one of them probably said, "Oh yeah, bring the pizza here. We're at this hotel room."
yeah. Call them up and just be like, "Oh, hey, we're calling from so and so cell phone company. We're just making sure." I mean, I don't know. Insert your bullshit story of why you need to meet them or some sort. I don't know. Yeah, the pizza dude. We're trying to deliver the pizza. We're trying to find your location. Yeah, we didn't order any, but we're at this hotel.
Yeah, they just pinged the phone. They probably got notified. They called local law enforcement. Said,
Yeah, and
"Ping
they
the
called.
phone."
Listen, they called up the carrier. Yeah.
Yeah,
They called up the carrier and they said, "Where is this cell phone tower coming from?" Right? It's an easy
sorry, you need a
request.
warrant. You need a warrant.
Yeah, okay, so you call in a warrant. Or they have like a special phone, which they probably do for these kind of requests, so that
A red
they,
one. It's a red one.
Yeah, it must be red. They make this phone call, and someone's like, "Okay, well," they're like, "We'll tell you what tower it's in," and then that's the city location, and then it probably didn't take too long, but that is pretty impressive either way that they caught him.
I think it's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is impressive. But you're carrying around a location device, okay? Maybe you turn it off.
Location.
Huh. Well, did they get their money back?
I'm sure they would, but who
I
knows?
wonder if they ate the pizza.
All right, we got a couple more.
Here, hold on. This quote from this article is kind of interesting too. So, all right, so this quote's from the same article about the two men. So it says, the victim, who had $14 million stolen by the occupant of the hotel room, has also been receiving taunting emails from the suspect. The suspect is also actively laundering the cryptocurrency through several different exchanges, some of which are not located in the United States. So these guys are sitting in their hotel room taunting these guys too? Like,
Pride before the fall.
wow.
These guys are
Crazy.
idiots, man.
I'm just thinking about all those email headers.
Right?
Sent
that's
to
what
the
they're
hotel
talking
computer
about.
from the one in the lobby.
It probably was. Probably the hotel room lobby computer. They're like, "Oh, look, it's coming from, shady Motel 6. You know what I'm saying?
That's Western on Route 3 in Oklahoma.
Exactly. Oh no, we did it on a trip. It was on a trip though. It's not my computer. It was the computer in the little lounge area. They're not gonna find me.
All right. Next story.
That's funny.
Crypto miners slip into Google Play Store.
I bet you that was hard.
Not Google.
Right? Wait, isn't Electronium in the Google Play Store?
Yeah, they do have a shitty app on there.
But does it actually mine cryptocurrency?
Yeah, right. That's just,
No, but if you did mine, you'd be making so much.
Half an Electronium per hour.
Yeah. All those ARM processors just ripping through coins. They're amazing at this.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
getting
one of
apps into the
those-
Play Store is getting a little bit more difficult when it's like doing like reverse netcats or something. Not that I've tried recently, but getting a line of code for like Crypto Hive or whatever it is, or Coin Hive and crypto miners, like that's
Pretty
probably very trivial.
trivial. Yeah. So this was Sophos Labs security researchers discovered no less than 25 crypto mining applications in Google's official application store for Android.
Wait, why are they targeting like students? So about halfway down, it says of the 25 applications, 11 were found to be preparation apps for standardized tests in the United States, such as the ACT, GRE, and SAT. Why does that matter? That's an interesting kind of tidbit there.
Maybe younger, less security aware people just want to study for tests. I don't know.
Maybe they're really popular. Maybe those apps are just
Yeah,
super
maybe it's
popular.
based on
And-
download rates or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely creates the
Traditionally,
urgency.
they cost money or something, and these were free, right?
Yeah, but I guess I don't know. Wouldn't you be suspicious that your ACT app is running in the background while you're not studying?
No.
Or maybe you've been up all night studying and you don't recognize that it's running.
I mean, how many times have you like opened up your phone and like, looked at all the running apps and been like, "Oh, this one looks suspicious." There's like 400 apps running.
Well, the thing I love about Google now is Google tells you which apps are causing drains now. Like, I mean,
So what
about
they
it,
did though, apparently these apps are using CPU throttling to limit the CPU usage by the mining, so that avoids the device overheating, high battery drain, and overall device sluggishness. Their Sophos Labs explained. So they were trying to circumvent that. I think that alarm, basically bells would go off if all of a sudden my phone caught on fire in my pocket for no apparent reason.
This is actually a really good idea. So we should do this for a marketing campaign. Yeah, let's create a really, really malicious app like that does crypto mining and crypto jacking and all kinds of cool stuff, whatever we could come up with. Let's put it into the Play Store, and then let's say that we reverse engineered it and found it to get all the news coverage, so that the news coverage will talk about the podcast for hackers on a podcast, crypto.
and
And
Melissa,
then, yeah. It'll be
our own app, but we can't tell everyone that.
We can't tell everybody that. Yeah, we won't tell anybody. We won't tell anybody. We'll just do it.
So now
No such
everyone
thing
is
as
going
bad
to
press,
assume
right?
if we discover.
No, dude, we don't have any
app.
listeners right now. We only got a couple listeners. It's okay.
This is our build up. So this is like
Sounds like
yeah.
fun.
So now we can't do any research on any like malicious app.
Come on, it's a good idea.
We planted it. Like
Fake news. Fake news.
Yeah, it's all fake news at this point.
So obviously they were using Coin Hive and whatnot, and using targeting Monero or generating Monero, which kind of leads us into our next one, which is that Monero doesn't like crypto mining, malicious mining, and they've launched an initiative to combat cryptocurrency mining malware.
Wait, why?
Now that they've made a lot of money.
Yeah,
Now that they shut down half my apps that were doing it maliciously, we don't.
So
like it.
no. So what's the reason?
that
Like, doesn't it
basically
technically
they want
make
to. I think
the
they want to
network more secure?
legitimize. They want to legitimize Monero. It's been getting so much bad press as being, oh, that's just things people
I
use
mean,
for money
technically,
laundering.
think about it. Doesn't it technically make the network more secure though, because it's more distributed? Like, I mean, it's the fact that there's
Technically, yeah.
computers around the world, like technically
My phone is
mining
probably
Monero,
right now, yeah.
not at their own
dishwasher.
will. The fact that it's more decentralized, the fact you have more systems doing it, should mean the network is more secure than.
I feel like there's like a real life parallel outside of cryptocurrency where this just would be really horrible. Right? So causing crime to make things better. I don't know, it just doesn't seem right. I don't agree. I have to disagree with that one.
It's like, or I don't know, you could say
Sorry.
like killing people off to like lower
Yeah, to
population.
save money on
population control. Yeah, actually, I mean, you can think about it, there's a lot of like social.
solve problems, like, but they're like horrible, like horrible things. Like you could solve real problems, but they'd be like kind of mean and horrible.
No, I'm not saying it's a good thing that there's malware. I'm just saying that the company or the group themselves that run Monero, in their eyes, they shouldn't necessarily see it as like, I don't know, like a bad thing. I mean, like it's not their fault that their currency is easy to mine on the CPUs. I mean, or what? I guess it is, but I mean,
Well, it is.
well, it's not their fault that people are using it to that point. You know, like as a malware, I guess.
It's a bad rep thing. They just don't want the rep as like, the
I
currency
guess,
that
yeah,
all,
that makes sense too. Like if you
criminals
wanna-
You're gonna have you'll have a hard time recovering from that, because when I think illegal cryptocurrency, I think Monero, even though that's not probably the right way to think, but that's
Yeah.
just where my mind goes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I think if they want to legitimize it and adopt it for mass, mass use, and actually have the price go up and all that stuff, and have companies buy into it,
Mhm.
it's got to be seen as something more than just commodity malware driven.
Yeah.
And that's why they created the Monero malware work group. So
So we got to work.
they have a press release on their website about
Is that like an email group? Like they get like a monthly update?
It's a Telegram group, okay?
It's just information on how to clean your systems and how to protect against people mining Monero unwanted on your network.
I mean, there's a good point here. If my ISP starts blocking Monero as a traffic, then it's going to be really hard to like legitimize it, right? Because, my ISP is trying to help me out. They're like, everything that goes Monero is bad. So, I mean, I know it's an extreme example. I'm just saying, right? If every time you install the Monero client, like just the regular wallet, and your antivirus flags it up, I mean, it's going to be really hard for people to adopt if every time they assume it's a
True
virus. So,
You should just fork it. Just
fork it.
Fork it.
Yeah.
All right, what's our last story? $230 million Mt. Gox trustee confirms past Bitcoin sell-off. Wait, so like more coins released? Is that what this is? It's a sell-off from the Mt. Gox.
Yeah. So these are more coins that have been sold off from the Mt. Gox, trying to recover all of the coins from the when they lost the original coins, which I think right now they have like the Mt. Gox cold wallet. It's got like 137,000 BTC. So there's like 945 million at present exchange rate. And this is when the original 470 million. So in short, like they've got more money. Everyone should be getting all their money back, which actually had some coin in Mt. Gox, but it was like a real small amount, or well, I thought it was a small amount at the time, but in today's dollars, I think it's like half of a coin. So eventually I think we're going to be getting that money back. I don't know. It used to be a site we could actually log in
you have to
and check.
submit a claim by October 22nd, so you might want to get on that.
Yeah, no, I did. So there's a site, there used to be that you could go in and log in and like check your balance. It was like a snapshot in time, and but yeah, back in the Magic Gathering days. But this could be some of the effect on price that we've seen somewhat.
We've seen it in the past for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess there was like a big thing where people kind of upset the fact that they were going to like a traditional exchange the way they were selling it. They were selling funds on like an order book exchange, and supposedly that's magnifying the impact the sales would have on like spot Bitcoin pricing. So yeah, I don't know. That might be some of the price. I mean, it's not one of those things, but if you sell enough at one time, it can affect the price. So the remnants and leftovers from the first big Bitcoin hack. Still today.
Not to be the last.
Not to be the last.
Dun,
yeah.
dun, dun, to be concluded.
To be included.
On next week's episode, as we have reached the end of this week's episode. Unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about. No.
No. Good.
Pure silence.
Silence is
Sold my
compliance.
miner. I sold my miner.
How do we make a sad sound for that?
I know, Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
Have to silence that.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not
it's
exact.
okay.
It's not exactly the most lucrative time for that, and I'm sure out there in Arizona you're generating a lot of power and heat.
It's like 12 cents per kilowatt hour, like
Mm-hmm.
in the low.
The same here. Yeah.
In the low, like in the low. So that and really, I'm more interested in trading, I think, right now. Like I know I talked about it the other day, but like in the chat, but had I bought the dip then and sold like right now, I would have made money. Like right now, I don't even have to monitor it. I just look at it and be like, do I want to sell? Sure. And then sell, and then I would have made a little bit of money. So I'm thinking I'm more interested in that side right now. And then we'll see where it goes.
I buy the dip every now and then and just kind of hold for a later date.
I'm pre-ordering those 2080s, man. I'm getting like 10 of them. Those things are going to be
serious?
No, I'm just kidding. They're
I
horrible.
thought the reviews were bad. Yeah.
They're terrible, yeah.
They're terrible.
You're better off just buying 1080 Ti's.
I'm better off just burning money in a barrel. Have more fun. No, they're bad.
That doesn't sound like any fun at all to me.
These are just buying those cards.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right,
Well,
guys.
at least you can play Crisis then.
Crisis.
Finally.
That's the game I'm dying to get into. Finally.
All right, guys, let's wrap this up. Make sure to join us on the Central Sec Slack channel. I'll let Mike give the URL because I keep screwing it up every week. Like every week.
It's okay. So there's another URL now that's easier. Launchpass.com/centralsec. It's just easier to say it that way. It ends up redirecting. If you use the old one still works. It'll redirect you to this one now. But
Through his cryptocurrency miner right to our site.
Sweet.
wait, what?
Attention Kmart shoppers.
What I do?
You said it'll redirect them. I was just throwing in that it's going to mine on the way.
Oh, yeah. No.
Special on aisle.
Not that you'll know. I'm just kidding. No, yeah, so Central Sec, Slack channel, we have people in there. We are active, I guess, somewhat. You guys are. I've been idle
We're
last
there.
week.
I'm there. I mean,
I turn my notifications off during the day. So,
to get more work done.
oh my gosh, yeah, I revamped my whole entire life. It's been crazy and awesome and productive and
Tempt my productivity.
cool. All right.
So join us on Central Sec Slack. Follow us on Twitter. We're at CoinSec Podcast. Keep an eye on coinsecpodcast.com and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like the show, leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. And honestly, if you have any cool ideas for the show or like stories you want to send us, feel free to jump in the Slack channel and throw them in there. And we'll definitely maybe add them in. And honestly, like if you have any other guests that you would like to see on the show, let us know and we'll invite them on.
I'll pay them in Electronium.
All right, guys. Well, it was a pleasure hanging out again. We shall catch you all next week. Later.
Later, guys.
See ya.